Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How's it going, Dylan?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
How's the fishing been?
It's really good. It's heating up on the beaches.
Yeah, I know the Snook are definitely starting to kind of stack in the passes. I know your buddy Eric didn't want me to tell people, but we've been telling people for a while.
Oh yeah, you gotta let them know so they come in here and buy the Pinfish.
yeah, the pass fishing for Snook has been really good as of late. We've been seeing a lot of them, mostly at night. What do you think?
They're always out here. The night bite's easier because you can use heavier gear, and you can really get away with using that 60 to 80 pound leader and still getting those bites. Whereas during the day, you gotta throw that 15, 20 pound leader and you're gonna lose a lot of fish.
Yeah.
So,
it makes it a little bit more difficult during the day.
Yep.
But the daytime, you have to use the lighter tackle because of the water clarity?
Yeah. Fish are just smart during the day too. I don't know, during the night they get in a real frenzy out there.
Yeah, a little easier to catch.
Yep.
I heard a story about some big cobia busting some bait inside the pass. Have you been seeing any cobia on the beaches?
No, but I hope I do.
Yeah, come across some big ones, huh?
Yeah, so.
Now, I know you have a little bucket over here. What are you going to show us this morning?
I'm going to show you guys a little bit, let's talk a little bit about what's going on inshore. Right now, obviously the passes are full of snook, and the best baits have been on the outgoing. If you go to the inside of the pass and drift pass crabs through there, you'll see snook busting on the pass crabs, especially over this next month. This is what I mean by a pass crab. You'll see them floating through, and you can scoop them up right out of the water. The best way to hook these, let me grab a hook out of here, is you'll see a little part right here that doesn't have any flesh. Just work your hook through that. You'll stay super lively. The cool thing about this, I would use very heavy gear, overkill for snook. When I'm throwing these, I use my 8,000 with 65 to 100 because there's a lot of tarpon starting to show up as well. Over at Johns Pass, we saw a guy catch one well over 100 pounds 2 days ago.
Wow.
So the tarpon are starting to roll through pretty good.
So when you say drift through the pass, so you start inside the pass and you let the tide just push you out of the pass?
Just like the rest of the crabs are doing. You'll see the crabs getting busted. And
is there a certain time of the month that you're looking for?
Not really. Outgoing tide seems to be when it's hot with the pass crabs. And a lot of the bridges too, because especially the bridges where, like Fort DeSoto, where people are dipping those crabs, you know that those tarpon and snook are sitting on the fenders waiting to ambush anything that comes out. So just matching what they're eating is really important, because when those pass crabs come through for a short amount of time and those fish love them and they take advantage of it. You'll catch everything from giant sheepshead to snapper. Everything eats pass crabs.
Nice.
So
very unique.
Yep.
Now I saw you had some fiddler crabs down there. I wanted to see. A lot of people ask about how to hook those fiddler crabs.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about the fiddler crabs, because this time of year, not very many people are buying them, because I mean, they're like, oh, the sheepshead bite's not on fire. That's not true. There's a different way to fish them. If you go on the flats, there's schools of sheepshead everywhere. How I like to hook these is you'll feel a little spot right here where it's soft. This hook's way too big for this, but then you just slowly push that through, and with a smaller hook, it'll come out the back very nicely. This one kind of cracked the back over there. But yeah, the back, anywhere near a pass, the sheepshead have moved their way in. So you can wade the flat or go on your boat with a trolling motor, and you'll see little schools of them, pods of 5 or 10 of them that are all together, and they're spawned out and a little skinny, but they're hungry.
Yeah.
So I've been doing very well on sheepshead.
For hooking those fiddler crabs, it's kind of the base of the tails, or the base of the legs is what you're looking for?
Yeah, the little joints right there, you'll see there's little soft spots. That way you're not just drilling it through there, because you'll crack it and then you'll lose your bait and have to put another one on.
So you're going up where the leg joins with the shell, up through the bottom, out the top.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yes, sir.
So what other bait are you going to show us
All
today?
right, the other baits I'm going to show is as far as artificial. Sight fishing snook on the beach and going near passes to flats, because right now May is a stage up month where a lot of fish are out of the pass. There's a whole lot more coming that aren't going to get out here till June, sometimes July. And this is my favorite bait as far as sight fishing them. It's small. It's a good bait to cover ground with, because I mean, anything small like this will get eaten by anything. Trout, redfish, snook. You figure out what's out there with this bait.
Can you hold that up a little bit for me?
Yeah.
So that's it's
a Z-Man.
Z-Man paddle tail?
Yep. Just a little 3-inch minnow. And how I hook these, Go in this side. Come out the back right here. They're a little tricky to get to stay on the jig head. A lot of times I like to put some super glue on the jig head before I stick it in there, and it'll stay all day.
So you're basically threading that hook through the front. Can you show them one more time?
Yeah,
kind of missed it.
absolutely.
My bad.
No, you're good.
So you're kind of working that hook.
Yeah,
right
you'll
to
see
the
there's a
tip.
spot meant right there for where your hook goes. You just work it right to the back, and over time you'll be able to gauge this really well. I've been doing it so long I have it pretty perfected of where it's going to come out the back. And then make sure you bury that thing in there real good with the barb so it stays.
I got you.
So, yep, that's probably my favorite. Go all around, find the fish on the flats bait. It's nice because you don't have to do any work keeping bait alive or catching bait.
What size jig head was that?
That was an 1/8 ounce Mission Fishing.
Mission Fishing.
So, yep.
So an 1/8 ounce jig head is all you need.
Right.
You want it basically a real slow sinking bait.
Exactly.
So you're just working the top of the grass flats, trying not to let it sink into the grass.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yep. And the other thing is the bite's been awesome on pinfish as well as pigfish, especially the pigfish. If you can get them, just show you different ways I like to hook these. If I'm trying to get them to stay out of rocks, I'll hook it through the tail right here. That way you have pretty good control over your bait where it's trying to swim.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not so worried about that and you're wanting to keep your bait lively as possible and the presentation as real as possible, you go right through the nose. And these have been working awesome on the ends of jetties, like the corner out here right at Johns Pass. If you drift these through here, there's not a better bait than pinfish and pigfish for those snook.
Nice.
So,
now,
yep.
when you're fishing in the tide, when the tide's rushing real good, I find that hooking through the nose or up underneath the jaw, out the top of the face seems to work better.
Yeah.
And that's just because the bait's able to stay his nose into the tide?
Right. That way it's not getting, line's not getting, if it's in the tide and you hook it through the back, it'll start doing swirls like this.
Yeah.
And your bait will your line will get all tangled up.
And the bait doesn't look natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so when your tide's running, you gotta hook it through the nose or up underneath the face.
Yep, you can get away with the tail hook there too, but
yeah.
Definitely not through the back.
Okay.
When the tide's ripping.
Gotcha.
So, yep.
Cool, man. Any other tips you got for these guys?
Get out fishing. The bite's as hot as it gets right now. May is probably my favorite month to fish because the fish are all over the flats. They're all over the beaches. They're everywhere. When it gets hotter, you're going to be limited to nighttime and those first couple hours in the morning. So.
Yeah, when the water gets real hot, those fish get kind of lethargic, huh?
Yeah, and you end up having to use pieces of dead ladyfish for the snook because they're just so slow. They're not wanting to chase things. So right now you can go out in the morning, use top waters. They're hitting everything. Their fish are just hungry right now.
Very cool.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, no problem.